Hello, good morning. Oh, sorry, good afternoon. Yeah, as you know, my name is Bosse Obo. I am known as Herbalist Livingstone. I am a wellness and nutrition coach. I am a food scientist. I'm a nutritionist. I am a herbalist. I am a food processor. I've been a farmer for over 30 years. But I am a food researcher. So, in one of my recent research works, I did a video some time ago about, my production of gari with sweet potato. Thank you very much for all those that watched it, for all those that shared it. Keep sharing it. Now, in the last 3 weeks, let's say about a month that video had, you know, come up. I had done a series. I'd done series of other researches, to see what and what we could do with sweet potato other than just eating it. Now, let me tell you from my agricultural, background. I had my first degree over 30 years ago. I think over 30 years ago. And about 30 years ago. And in my undergraduate, thesis, the project, I worked on sweet potato. So if you want to ask anybody about sweet potato, I think I should be the one you're talking to. Ipomia batatas, it originated from Peru, in South America. And there are over, hundreds of varieties of the sweet potato. And I worked with about 4 varieties in my undergraduate, and my project supervisor of blessed memory, Dr. FMO Agbo at Abia State University. I was always a field person. It didn't start today. I'm always, in the field, doing something, getting one information or the other. So I actually worked on several varieties of sweet potato. One that was notable among those varieties, in those days at Umudike in Umahia in Abia State was Exigbarium. It's a variety of sweet potato. We don't find so many of them in the south, southern and northern parts of Nigeria. In the east, we actually have a lot. Now, I'm talking about the sweet potato gari. I told you in my last video on on gari production with sweet potato, that cassava, we have depended on cassava for too long. It's a challenge in this part of the world that we don't explore. We don't do other things. The moment, we're more like stereotyped with our food. And that is why the normal thing you find a Westerner eat is eba, amala, fufu. And the Easterners, you find us, eat or them eating, well, I'm one of them too, eating akpu or gari. And in the North, you find them eating tuwo shinkafa, tuwo masara, or any other tuwo like that. That's just all. When semo came, wheat started coming, and a whole lot of other things. Now, for the sweet potato that I worked on, and in that video, I was actually telling us why we should shift focus from cassava. I told you cassava is high in cyanogenic glucoside, and it's one of the components of cassava that makes people, when it is not well processed, they say they drink gari, or they drink gari after taking mango and the person dies. Is the level of the cyanogenic glucoside that has not been broken down, and it's only through fermentation we break down, that the cyanogenic glucoside. It's that sweet taste that comes in cassava. Cyanogenic glucoside contributes to that sweetness. When it is fermented, it is broken down, it gets sour, and the bacteria that causes fermentation, they set in, and that's when your gari is really safe for you to drink, even though we have different levels of cyanogenic glucoside in different species, across the cassava family. Now, in what I have done with the sweet potato and some of the laboratory analysis that I've done, sweet potato on nutrient level is higher than cassava. Now, I explained some of those things in my last video. But what I want to talk about today is that over the last 3 weeks, when I went back to the farm and we started doing, different experiments with sweet potato, I'm doing this video to educate people that want to go into sweet potato gari production, or you have sweet potato, it is wasting this time around because of the heat, because of the, low moisture content of the soil, because of the heat, high temperature. A lot of sweet potatoes will be spoiling in the ground. In this time now, even when you buy sweet potato and you put it in your house, it wouldn't stay long anymore because of the heat. Sweet potato is very, very, very susceptible to spoilage caused by high temperature. Now, so it is a good thing for you if you have sweet potato. For our northerners that have a lot of sweet potatoes in their farms, for the southerners that are planting, eastern, western that are planting, it is a good thing to start exploring the opportunities that is in gari production for sweet potato. The same machine you use, the same mechanism, the same process runs when you want to produce sweet potato gari. Now, the specific thing I want to pass across to us is you're going to run into a challenge based on the research that I have just done. One of the challenges of sweet potato is the structure, the mealiness of sweet potato is different from that of cassava. Usually cassava, when we pulp it, after grating it and you pour it in the bag, the water begins to drain. But sweet potato is not like that. Even when you cook sweet potato and you cook cassava, because cassava is stronger in structure. I don't want to use agricultural terms. I want to use the layman terms that, our farmers in the villages can understand when they want to go into sweet potato gari production. The structure of cassava, you can see that when you cook cassava and you cook sweet potato, if you feel it in the hand, cassava is bulky, it's starchy, it's more, it binds. I'm just using those layman. Let me not go too much technical. Now, but for sweet potato is soft in the hand. When you touch it and you touch that of cassava after boiling it, you can see the structure, the feel, the texture. Yeah, let me use texture. Now, it is different in the two. Cassava, the moment you pour it in the bag, it will drain water even before you put it on the hydraulic press or whichever press you use. But sweet potato is not going to drain water like that. In short, it took us a lot of thinking out of the box, when we started it, because we were spending more time in the sweet potato gari production compared to the cassava gari production. So when you put it in the bag, when you have grated, even by the time you have grated the sweet potato tubers, roots, and you put it in the bag, the way it is, it's not going to be like the way cassava is. So in some of the things I did was that we had 4 different specimens, like an experiment. We have this one, A, B, C, and we have the control. Now, so we put some in the bag, we left it to ferment. We put another one, we put it on the press right away so that we can make a faster, sweet potato gari. And they all came out differently. The color, the mealiness, the granules, the strength of the grains of the gari. But most importantly that I want to pass across to you while I'm doing this video is that if you pour your sweet potato grated pulp into the bag, there is tendencies that it will not drain water fast. So one of the things we did after, wrecking our brain and saying like, how can we go about it? We discovered that in a particular one, we had to mix it with water so that water, can form the base. Because the sweet potato holds the structure of the sweet potato. It was binding that fluid, that moisture that was in it. It was locked in it. The moisture was not coming out. The water, the fluid was not coming out. Unlike that of cassava, the moment you pour it in the bag, you start seeing, the water coming out from the different sides of the bag. That of sweet potato stayed in it. And that is going to affect you when you want to fry, when you want to roast it. Yeah, like I said, I should have done this video on the farm. I mean, where, at the spot of the farm where we were doing the sweet potato, experiment. But somehow, it's got escaped my mind that we should have done, the video. I'm sure in another time we'll be doing some production, we'll be doing that so that we can show, do the experiment for everybody to see as we are peeling the sweet potatoes and all that. And the good thing is, we've run out of stock for the sweet potato gari. We have another batch that is just going to be released probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So you should get right away on the dial and call us to order for you. And it's even cheap. We sold it for 6,500 naira. A paint plastic of cassava gari is how much if you want to have a quality one. And the 5 kg bag that we have is almost 2 paints. If you are using the real paint that I use, it is about 1 paint and a 3/4 that makes up. But if you are using the paint rubber or the custard rubber bucket that they use in the market, you're going to get 2 custard buckets. So if I'm selling it at 6,500 naira, I think I haven't overgained. As a matter of fact, this is just an introductory price for us to introduce it to people. So if you love it, people, even right from America, Europe, they've already booked for it. So if you haven't booked yours, I better, I want to advise you to do that right away. Our last production for the year is going to take place by next week. And these are things that you can just get and keep for yourself, especially if you have, vitamin A deficiency, you have a problem. And it's good for the aged, it doesn't even stay. When you make it, it digests immediately. And one other thing I have done with, sweet potato is that we've also made fufu with it. Like I told you in my last video that we're going to do some experiment. So we did sweet potato fufu, we did sweet potato lafon, and all those things are available for you. As a matter of fact, we have over, right now we have about 200 kg, between 150 and 200 kg of our sweet potato fufu flour and the sweet potato lafon flour. Lafon is this amala that we get from cassava. So we have our own sweet potato lafon. It's not yet branded, so you can just call for, yours. It's going to be sold in 1 kgs. Get on the dial right away and call us. Now, back to what we were saying about the sweet potato production, gari production. So when we put some water, mix it with it, and we put it in the bag, it was able to drain off the water. It also helped in the color, for the color to be a little bit pleasant. But I want to tell you, if you're going to be using the purple sweet potato variety, there is a purple one. Even the sweet potato inside it is purplish, not even the skin alone. And I don't know if you've, run into it. It was one of the varieties of sweet potato that I used for my undergraduate, research. And when you process that, the color will be different from the creamy variety of the sweet potato. And the ultimate one is the orange-fleshed sweet potato that is high in, beta-carotene. And it's a rich source of antioxidants. That too will be doing. So if you have, I know a lot of farmers are having problems with marketing their orange flesh sweet potato. I went into orange flesh sweet potato production like 4 years, before COVID. And because people haven't known it, the knowledge, the awareness, the information is not high. Even as of today, too, there are a lot of farmers that got their fingers burned because they planted the orange flesh sweet potato, and that one doesn't even stay as long as the normal sweet potato variety that we have. I'm just throwing it at you. If you have orange flesh sweet potato, you can turn it into gari. If you don't know how to place, you can get in touch with me. You can send us an email or make a comment on this YouTube video, and it will be responded to. Be ready to go with me on this journey of wellness, on this journey of good nutrition, on this journey of dietary improvement, on this journey of food production. in the coming year. So any question you want to ask about sweet potato Gari production, please go ahead and ask me, right? I told you my name is Bose Obo, so you can always, get in touch with me on any of our social media handles. Till I come your way again next time, I remain yours and only, devoted and committed to you living healthy, to you eating right, to you cutting down on medical bills or your dependence on this prescription drugs, to you going herbal, treating whatever thing with natural, traditional medicines. They're all over us. Thank you very much. See you next time.